I never thought.
It's the first thing that came to mind.
Like, that tickles me so hard.
All right.
Thank you for tickling me, Ollie.
You're welcome. As a DM, I control all things, such I can tickle all. Oh, shit, I'm knocking things over. Anyway,
tickling.
I can see a little wagging tail. You just
I can see this too. Rat? I mean.
Oh, I didn't. I can never see what's happening on Scott's screen for some reason, even though I'm usually looking at it.
I just saw this little tail just going.
It's dissonance. You don't have a ship's dog.
We need to get one.
Dogs can't survive the punch drive.
You would need to have like a there would be a whole thing.
Otherwise,
the dog would be like,
I'll make it
every time.
I'll just make it. It's okay.
So, with the drive, Anna leans back in her chair. The way the bridge is set out, the only person who's facing the front of the ship is the captain. She's facing the right. It doesn't matter because there's no glass windows on the ship. There's no reason to look out the front, although it does sometimes help. She can turn the whole thing if she needs to, but she doesn't really concern herself with that. She sort of leans back. Every one of your stations is customized for you guys, and most of them are several screens anyway. One of the screens is now just a big indicating number that says 5 days, 23 hours, 38 minutes. I'm giving you a more or less 6-day timer of your traveling through space until you get to Quartos. And then it's going to be another 6 days to get to Pike. Going to be a slow burn. Is there anything anyone wants to do during these travels? You also because of course you will be doing base operations, but now the ship is now the ship is traveling, and this is such a basic thing. The way that punching works, in conventional sense, is that there's usually a little blinking little space probe right by a system's star, and you just you're traveling to it. And this between Novus and Quartos happens so often, it's an incredibly easy jump to make. She just sort of leans back and isn't even paying much attention.
Yeah. And then most of that time, because it's almost instantaneous, most of that time you're referring to is beyond like the jumping. It's actually once you get to the system, you now have to get into the gravity wells.
No, in this one it is the punt is the actual travel.
Yeah,
through
6 days, right?
Space. Yeah, it's 6 days travel.
Yeah.
But then you're going to very much similar, like to imagine like Elite Dangerous. You're going to just be like there.
Yeah,
but then you sort of go from like high-speed travel to like regular travel, and you can in this system. Another thing I'm adding, because of the way they describe rudders, you can also try and go to a specific planet, but again, that's another level of difficulty and things. Where usually you just go to the star, because even if you screw up, you're usually fine. You're not actually going to go into the star because it's usually quite a bit way away, but not like Elite Dangerous where you almost always end up flying into the star.
Well, yeah. Well, it's funny because in ED, that's like the one difference between how SWN and ED is described. Is in ED, they actually have you go straight to the fucking, like you're about to crash into it. Whereas in SWN, they want you outside the gravity wells, so at the rim of the system.
Going to you go to specific
the beacon
points.
or whatever.
You can not,
nice.
But again, it would be
that
would be even harder because you'd have no point of reference.
Like you said, that's a higher tier of difficulty. Yeah. Cool.
She's already set it up. This happens so often she doesn't. She's not really concerned about it. She's still at her. She gets up from her chair, unstraps, and goes and gets another coffee. This is like how little she cares. All the other screens are doing like sort of calculations and things, and she usually has a display of the ship in 3-dimensional space that similar to the engineering station, because it's good to know where's damaged when you're piloting the ship. But the rest of you don't really need to stay and do anything. You're already aware, this kind of like, because nothing, you're just sort of traveling. You don't really need to do anything here.
Mm-hmm. No, everything should be fine. We did that systems check. Me and Tomas did that system check ages ago, so I know that I'm not worried about.
Yes, exactly. You wouldn't have that sort of anxiety.
Yep. So I guess it would just be dicking around.
Yeah, your ship. Okay, so it's around this time we can talk about the cruise.
I was going to say I'd like to get the local news, and by local I don't mean local. I mean I'm interested in the Pike current situation.
Okay.
I know that Pike and Novus aren't on the best terms.
Yes. That's something that, like, while you're traveling, you can try to, like,
and as an
beam in. So, yes, exactly. So, something about just the setting in general, usually systems have their own internet. internet system, which you can usually actually get from like orbit of a planet or something, or even further away, but with a massive delay. But of course, you're traveling right now. You couldn't get into that, but you can send call and responses from like that sort of thing, and it is possible. Like it's like how you can have communication lines between things. It's just it's going to be sending you the news. You're aware it's probably going to take a while to get there, so like you tap in sort of a request.
Push a button and
like,
it sends off a request, and then it's got to bounce it off.
Yeah, it's like you old school internet days, or my internet all the days. I actually have a situation now where I have to wait for pictures to buffer again. I know we're meant to be living in 2018, and my internet, but I can stream. I can stream just fine. Anyway,
listen, I just found out that not that long ago, Eric and Aaron's new upload speed is as fast as my download speed, and the download speed is around a gig, and that is all for the same price as $4 cheaper than what we were paying when they lived here. Because are you fucking kidding me, Comcast?
That sucks. So you do that. You get to the waiting. So that's why I can describe as you're sort of waiting, chilling around. I can describe the I don't remember what I call it on the ship, but like there's this casual space.
The rec area.
Rec area. Yeah,
communal
it's also
area
it's communal area. It's kind of a rec area because it does have actual separate kitchen, which admittedly most of the things you cook are like those sort of ration packets where it's like you microwave it and it is like beef stew. It's like this might not be beef, it might not be stew, but it is nutrients. And they're not never really the best quality, but Anna in particular has like some things to add to them to make them not so bad. But they're not terrible. They're just like compared to real food, they're not great. Aside from like everyone has one that you're like this is the best, but you can't just eat all of that one because one, someone on the ship's gonna get mad, and two, then it's all gonna be gone. So anyway.
Am I gonna be the weird guy that prefers the shrimp ramen?
Yeah, like something like that. It's like it shouldn't be good, but it is. I have that with shepherd's pie. I really like. I don't like regular shepherd's pie. I like ready meal shepherd's pie. They have this like weird flavor to the beef. It's like it's not real.
Extra brown flavor.
brown flavor. But it has a dining table, which has enough to fit everyone on the ship. Rarely are you all eating at the same time, unless there's a specific reason to do so. But there's also couches. This has a TV that has you basically have like this what a lot of ships would have. I like how you muted yourself and I still heard it. It's not strong enough.
It
was a powerful
often
sneeze.
does that. No, it should mute it, but my sneezes seem to bypass that.
But you have like a service where you have a whole bunch of recorded shows from like planets and things, and most of the things on here are from Pike, but you might have brought some other stuff with you, or like download it if you stay on a planet. You download things from like Space, Netflix, stuff like that. But you can't get like news broadcasts. It's all pre-recorded.
Wait,
like
what is it? It's called Spaceflix? Is that what you just
I
said?
haven't given it a proper name yet because I am naming things here, but it is essentially Spaceflix.
Okay.
Just so
Canon
you know.
Spaceflix.
Please don't sue me.
I'm just giving everything like names so that eventually the Megacorps can come back and like be bad guys. And there's also a gym. Like the back end of a ship nearest the engines is where there's a whole bunch of gym equipment that usually Anna and Thomas are using, one or the other or both, because you're probably workout buds. Because again, she's been on the ship not as long as you, but also like considerable. Like, how long have you been on this ship? Like, at least 10 years or something like that?
Yeah, at least 10 years.
Oh my god.
She's been on it at about 10 years.
The trick is to turn down the gravity in that area when they're working out.
Oh, hey-oh.
No, we turn up the gravity in that area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super Saiyan it. Yeah.
I'm sure you
do.
even as the engineering
300G.
officer can. So like you totally would.
He goes Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
So what is it that you guys do to sort of like spend time during the 12 hours, 12 days of which you're going to be traveling? I will briefly describe when you get to like the stopping point, but nothing really exciting is going to happen.
I actually would tell everyone that I'm going to be making a room on this ship I walk up to them whenever they were all together, whatever place, and I would just basically
It's like you enjoy, like you come by during like but during like lunch.
Yeah, we're all just eating. Just like so we've been making a room on the ship as a workshop, just so and I look over specifically at Davis. It's so weird. Anyway, I look over at Davis and I'm like, just so the mess isn't going to start piling up on your side.
Genuinely appreciated. The work you do is extremely important, but the mess you make is very off-putting.
Yeah,
he keeps the
I call
ship
it a mess
running
because most people think it is. But.
Well, it's most upsetting when the mess actually starts taking over the mess, and you can't get to your food. What kind of resources are you going to need diverted for you to accomplish this?
I don't need any resources. I've been saving up myself to make sure this is all good. I just need to pick a spot on the ship to put it.
That's ridiculous. I'll speak to the captain to make sure that resources get diverted to it. But what do you need? We were all going to appreciate the transition.
Well, we'll find out when we get to Pike and Shield specifically what it's going to cost. Probably roughly 500 credits.
I will just forward the information over, and I will make sure I have that. Perhaps the captain can even dock that from pay or.
So it's one of those things that putting more room in the ship. Essentially, all your spare room is the cargo bay.
Mm-hmm.
So what you would do is you'd be taking space out of your cargo space on the ship to add another workroom. You could take room out of the communal area, but like that's probably you have a lot of cargo space that you don't usually use, so you would probably do that. Just so you know.
Yep, for sure.
We just shift the living situation. We get those 3 bedrooms. The captain's got that big bedroom all by himself. I'm just saying, we move 2 people into the room with the captain. And
it's an
we
office.
Have pillow fights every night, guys.
Wait, exactly. That is actually a true thing. If you shared captain room, there'd be a lot more space on the ship. That's why it says like comfortable, but like Mickey does not want to do that.
No,
you are allowed to like go into the captain's quarters or anything, but like is his room. It's like an office, sleeping room, all the things. He has his own TV. He has his own computers.
Well, could we realistically put the bedroom that's down in the lower deck, put that to the upper deck next to the captain's quarter, attached to the bridge?
So you can't really attach things to the bridge because that's physical space isn't there. The ship sort of curves down.
No, okay, that's fine.
I mean, you could, but it wouldn't be comfortable, or you'd have to do a lot more adjustments to the ship. What I'm saying is the spare room that you can mess around with is the cargo bay.
Yep, I'll add a workshop to the cargo when we get where we're going. But I would just want to tell the group that before I just did it.
Great.
Between just that and I'd be working out.
Also, probably doing some like preliminary planning, which would especially, which would actually be like 3D modeling what you're probably going to make in like a computer simulation and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And one of you is playing guitar, I imagine.
Yeah, I'd be strumming the guitar when I get told to shut up.
It's very hard to watch your shows when there's someone playing a guitar in there.
And when I'm told to shut up, I'd be trying to drag people into like card games and things.
I will say there is like a rudimentary like gaming system attached to the TV in there.
Yeah, I'm not.
But it's
really
not like anything crazy.
Watching TV, so it's very much like if you stop me playing the guitar, I'm going to be trying to get you to play a game.
She's social.
Yeah, be social.
Anna doesn't. So Anna actually like. Anna is often the one watching something, and often the one who will get you to be quiet and then feel bad and will usually like play cards with you while watching something, when she's around, when she's not working out and stuff. She doesn't work out like all the time, but she's happy to be your distraction from not having to do anything most of the time, Rain, and you're aware of that.
So I've got like even less to do than the other people, considering I'm a gunnery officer.
Yeah, exactly. Your job on the ship when you're traveling is gunnery officer, and so you're not necessarily. But you've proved yourself very useful when it's boots on the ground.
Yeah.
The nerds, what are you doing? It's funny how the engineering officer isn't the nerd.
I have flicked obviously I'd like it to be a flick, but the tech's probably not that swish. I want to have my compad and be like, whoop.
They are. They're touch.
Oh, lovely. Whoop. flicked it over to my compad, so I'm like in the communal area, probably crashing on a couch. My feet are up awkwardly in someone's face if I can. Probably Rain in revenge for the guitar.
Rain is not bothered at all.
and I'm scrolling through the Pike Novus information. You know,
Yes, it
I'm
would
picking
come
out
back very
bits that I
quickly.
find interesting, and then I'm like telling everyone. I tease Thomas about bits that are like a bit of anti-Pike propaganda here and there.
Yes, exactly. I imagine the way you do it, because you're from the more Novus side, is so for the details. A lot of planets are pushing for independence. Some planets are more far away, have sort of been like, we're independent, and they're so far away, nothing's happening about it. Pike is trying to push for independence and has been for around 30 years, but they are an agriculture world. They are actually a very big planet, like a good deal bigger than Novus, and it is all farmable. But because it's such a big agriculture world, and one of the first ones to colonize, it has big cities all over it, and a very big population, and a colonized system. So they don't want to be just puppets to Novus anymore, so they push to independence, and the whole thing is being like, we're independent! And they're like, you're not independent. No, seriously, keep sending us food and stuff. Like, that whole thing has been going on for around about 30 years, but it's been pushing a lot more. From it being like almost a political standing of like when they have elections and things, like there's a political party that wants it. The Pike Independence Party has recently just been elected to lead Pike as a system-wide thing. So obviously that push for independence is a lot further now. And actually you did just see when you were reading it that Pike actually just finished making its first cruiser in its own navy, called the Volescus.
Volescus.
Yeah. It's like a big thing in Pike right now. Like it was like the smash champagne on the side and stuff. That was all televised and stuff. Of course, it was you had to like, it was a robot arm smashing it because it's of such a big ship. It was made in space, but it was still magical. That's the main thing. Because all these systems have like private security, but having your own navy is a whole other thing, and that's kind of what this is.
Right. It's like an actual declaration of, hey, we are.
Yes, it's more of just we want to be independent, and then more as like we will be taking steps to be independent.
Right. We will fight.
If this is
players in the game now.
Yes,
Yeah, absolutely.
exactly. And a fleet cruiser is no laughing joke. Small ships like yours are incredibly common. You're kind of like ship that has a drive of one and can hop around. They're all over the place. Bigger ships are a lot harder to come by, especially military ships. But even like bigger cargo ships, there are ones that are designed more for cargo than yours. But you know, that sort of thing is pretty impressive. Cool. So that would be the main thing that comes up in the news. What are you doing, Davis? Or you're just chilling, you're off time and make sure everything.
No. So my character again is not somebody that spends the downtime of typical flights just doing nothing. Here it's very like going around, checking this, going over there, checking that. He is not a micromanager where he's going to stand over somebody's shoulder and tell them what they need to do, so on and so forth. But he is kind of a big data collector in the idea that he always likes to know what's going on with the ship itself. So think of it as like micromanagement of the ship's function as opposed to the crew's tasks, because it's very much like oh hey Tomas, did you see da-da-da? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, if he doesn't seem concerned about it, I trust it. That sort of a thing. You know, they all are here for a reason. But it's very much, space can get really fucking boring, and so he keeps himself busy at all times with almost no recreation.
Okay, that's a good way of wording it, actually.
And every time he wanders past Rain to check something, she'll shout at him to try and get him to join in with whatever she's doing.
Yeah, because like
Rain's one of those people that when you're at work and they look at you and you're very, not that you're necessarily like an asshole or anything, but you're serious, you're doing your work. She's one of those people that go, smile. And you're just like,
I hate you.
Hey, you're working here.
Yeah, literally. Well, people do it to me all the time. I'm like, why are you so mad? I'm like, I'm just working. I'm not mad. I'm just doing my thing.
It's in the fucking zone, man.
Yeah.
I'm playing a character tomorrow morning. I gotta get in the zone for it. Like, leave me alone. It's 92 degrees out.
What was it? The whole yeah, and like the kind of thing you'd also be asked is like, you know, the ammo and the guns, like they're the same as the last few times. Haven't fired the guns like
Yeah, exactly.
for like months. They're the same. The ammo counts. I can count them because the only thing in your cargo right now is ammo. It is the only thing taking cargo space.
Yeah, but stuff like, you know, you check ammos. It's not about how much ammo. It's
I
like,
know.
if it fires and the calibration is correct.
I know, but that would almost definitely be Rain's response. It's like, it's there.
Yeah, they ain't going anywhere out here, sort of thing.
I would like to amend my prior statement. I don't micromanage anybody but one.
I think Rain is definitely the slightly irresponsible one on this show.
She's also the youngest.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Wow, she's the millennial. Good job.
Yeah.
Good job. from the oldest person in the cast.
That is funnily accurate. So when those 6 days of very easy traveling, like even Anna the pilot is very rarely piloting because the most of this is automated and it's not like you're doing any sort of sharp turning or anything like that. It's just she's traveling and she's done it so many times before. She checks, but she doesn't sit and pilot. When you arrive there, you head towards Quartos. So Quartos is a little different in that it's not. Most of the other worlds in the system, if you look at the map, are actually moons of the planet of Quartos, which the planet of Quartos, if I remember correctly, doesn't have much going on it other than mining. It's an inhospitable planet itself, but it can all the systems around it. You know, there's a lot of mining stuff going on. Yes, it's a magma world. That's it. It is like a boiling hot magma world. So there are small little stations on the planet, but mostly it is automated mining, and the moons are where things go on. You've occasionally stopped by, I believe it's Momon on Quartos, because that is also another big shipwright that makes a lot of ships for Novus proper. You know, if a planet or an area is known for being a shipwright, they obviously make a lot of ships. Not just every system has someone making ships. But that is what's happening there. But you don't even go to Quartos. You just sort of go right near the rudder. Is a mostly automated refueling station. There's probably like a couple of people who are on it who are like keeping track of things, who have pretty shitty jobs. And they like maybe even some of you looked up being one of those people because you get paid quite a lot because you're not doing anything for like 6. You have to sign up for like 6 years. But you go up there, you refuel. Ryaz probably goes out in a vac suit and hooks it on because it's not even that automated. And you refuel, and then you punch again towards Pike. And everything is much the same in that other travel. When you're getting for more news and things, there's not really... Nothing has happened in those last 12 days that is of note, though Jason's one of those people who's probably checks the news every couple of days. And, of course, there are articles, because it is news. But it's not that there's no, like, official declaration from, like, Novus about this ship or anything like that's been going on. And when those 12 days are up, so 6 days, refuel 6 days, you arrive at Pike. And actually, she will, for this one, of deliberately gone to Pike instead of the rudder, because she does this all the time. This isn't even a struggle of her. But she goes to Pike, which, again, this big, beautiful agriculture world. It is like a beautiful green marble for the most part. Beautiful travel. And then towards its moon of Shield. Shield as a moon is very coated in cities and things. It's not got an atmosphere of note. It's not even one of those things where they're going to try and terraform it. Terraforming does exist in general in the world. No, it's more just it's a planet known for shipwrights, for making ships like this, and of course, having such a big community of people on the planet, cities arise, people need their entertainment, they need living space, you might as well start growing things on the planet in like some bunkers and things like that, you know. It is a fully functioning planet, but probably wouldn't be self-sufficient, but that's how most systems and planets are. And then you start your descent into Shield itself. It's one of those things where Jason has to sort of like calm them, but your ship proudly pings more or less that it's a pike ship. Also, it looks like one. When they like do the handshake, it does show what the ship is, and it's most of its specs and stuff like that. So you actually aren't given much trouble. When you go into land at one of these cities on Pike, you go to the major city or on Shield. You go to the major city that is usually just called Shield. You don't have anything crazy going on there. And it's one of those things where you are grabbed by clamps, and then you are brought in. The clamps are on sort of like tracks, and you're brought into a dry dock through an airlock system where it is more or less a space for this ship in particular. You know that maybe Mickey's paying for this, or maybe he's not. Maybe the person he's going to see is paying for this, because if they're on Shield, they're probably an engineer on a shipwright, if they're anyone of note. And then the ship is slowly turned off so that you can start to do some work on it. And you arrive here in this dry dock. Dry dock, basically, big, mostly empty chamber. And then outside it are the sort of typical engineering station sort of things of, you're in the engineering bays. There are loaders who are carrying, like, heavy things around. You can see other ships. You can feel the rumblings of other ships and things taking off and going. But it's not as busy as Corvu was. But it is, and it's by no means quiet. As soon as your ship like sort of gets here, a crew of engineering people go and sort of check that everything's okay, which Thomas probably appreciates, and probably goes and starts showing off, because there's atmosphere here. Once you're in the dry dock, you could just get out the ship. They go and they wheel like a stair thing to your easier to use airlock, and you can get out and you can start hanging around and doing things. Mickey does come out but doesn't sort of say anything. He's just sort of watching, the gaggle of ship engineers and things who are admiring the Magpie. Kind of like an old car,
Yeah. So, I mean, when we get off, it's kind of like we're just going to follow his lead because he's the one in charge of this job. We don't really know many details about it, so...
I would actually ask him before we look into this new job if I could get them working on the ship first. That way we have it ready.
Are they going to be working on this workshop thing?
Yeah. I want them to.
If you want to pay them to do it, then fine.
Alright, sure.
By the way, he's also willing to pay half towards this workshop. The rest is going to be out of your pocket, but like sort of he's paying half with your fund, like half him and half like pay docking for like other things.
No, yeah, absolutely. If he's willing to pay half, Ollie, then I would pay. I believe the book says it's 500 credits, so I would pay myself 600 and then use his extra 250 to just make it as nice as they could.
It's more or less also to hire them to do it in the couple of days you're staying
hire them
here.
to do it, have all that. I'd pay extra just to make sure everything was done right.
Okay, cool.
So it's actually, if this is something that's going on, I would actually call, like if I was aware of this, I would actually call to the crew to like talk about it, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
To see if we can actually get other people to put in. Because I got credits too, you know what I mean? So when the captain says, yeah, and I'll put down half for it, 250 credits, yeah, okay, I'll take, that sort of thing happens. Actually call it to the crew, and as we're like getting off or whatever information, I'll be like, so just a little bit of attention. Something has been brought to my attention recently by Tomas. Tomas has decided that he thinks it might be a good idea for us to put together a proper workshop aboard the ship. Something where he can kind of take all of his supplies and put them in one location where they'll be effectively used to maintain and enhance both the ship itself and our equipment. This is something that will be beneficial for all of us, though obviously something he's more interested in than the rest of us. I would like to propose, if anybody would like to throw in a small amount of money to aid in this, I had on mind 50 credits per person, because of course we will all benefit equally.
I'd love to, but I'm a bit short at the moment, to be honest. Taking 50 would pretty much leave me broke.
So when you're, on shore, you buy lots of drinks. You don't make any tips playing that guitar of yours?
Not as such. I generally don't get the Cody thing up. I generally just do it to meet people, you know. Plus, I had to get the new gun for the whole thing down in Jareth last time. It cost a bit. I'm a bit short, you know.
Completely understand.
I mean, I could put in like 25, but not the full 50, really.
Well, no, I understand. I mean, I'm sure with that 25 credits, it'll be enough for Tomas to make sure that the gun is well maintained for you. And I'll look over to God damn it, I keep forgetting Neil's character's name. Jason. I keep having to look at because it's not right at the bottom of the screen. I keep going where is it written over? It's tiny fonts. There it is.
For Scott's old man memory.
Yeah. Well, even when I was young, I had no memory. Wait, I'm still young. No. So I'll look over to Jason. I won't say anything. I'll just look to him.
So when you look over, Jason glances down at his compad, and he keeps looking down. He keeps looking down, and then he's like, "You're still looking," and he's like, "I don't really have that much. What are we thinking of doing in there?"
I'll then turn and look over at Anna without answering the question.
She just gets up a compad and goes shh,
and sends the 50 over. I'll send 125 over to him, covering myself, Jason, and the other half of what's her name? Whose name is Rain.
Rain.
I have to do it's rain on your wedding. Okay, I got it.
Oh,
Is that how you're gonna remember? I'm okay with that.
Please don't.
The thing is that's gonna happen multiple times now. We'll be like, oh, what is it? What is it?
Well, the more appropriate line is, it's like a free ride. We've already paid. You know.
Hey.
Cheapskate.
So you basically crew this these couple of engineers to help put this workshop in. You're just going to take some space up in the cargo bay.
Yeah.
You can edit the ship thing, I think, that I have for you in-game. I mean, you can edit your individual ship thing, but I also have a handout for the ship itself. So just say how much cargo space is going to dock from it. I assume 1 to have a cargo bay. To have a workshop, and that's what you're doing. How long does it say it takes to do that in the book?
I have to pull that up, to be fully honest. I forget.
Well, that's okay. You can look that up and tell me while we do other things. So you guys get off the ship, mostly because you docked in a dry dock, so you might as well walk around. And this planet has... The inside has enough gravity, but the moon itself has some gravity anyway. So it's a step beyond what you were on, because there's real gravity supporting the artificial gravity. As you start probably going out to maybe more of the open engineering bays instead of the proper dry docks, it has to be more secured and airlocked and things. It is fairly busy of engineering crews, including the one you just hired.
Quick key. Is this the time? Would we be appropriately expected to carry our weapons with us, or not at all?
Here it would be okay. These kind of engineering stations, it's not so much a problem because everyone is a spacer. It's more or less if there's going to be a civilians, then it's not considered okay. And sure, there are civilians on this system, but they're not going to be in this planet. But they're not going to be here, and even if they are, they're probably engineers and stuff who also will do the same thing. So
Jason would come out with he's got a hoodie jacket on, which on one shoulder, which he's being a bit antagonistic. It bears the Novus Navy.
Yes,
his corps that he was in.
The NCN, the Novus Concord Navy.
It does also, because it's his reg, it does also display that it's medical reg.
It has all your bells and whistles.
Yeah, he comes out with his backpack on, as well. But his weapon he does have, but you can't see it. He's chosen to conceal that one.
All right, sure.
So is full weapons or small arms?
You could probably walk around with full weapons here. Again, that is always like a sort of, if you're walking around with a big gun, people are going to notice you're walking around with a big gun. I will say Anna has not taken her big gun. She also has a big gun. She has not taken her big gun. She has taken her small gun.
I took my big guns.
I mean, if she's taking a small one, then to make up for that, I'll take the big one.
You know what? Yeah, that's okay. And you go off in a probably a bit of a group, and quite quickly Mickey sees who he's trying to find. Someone none of you recognize. Maybe Tom might have recognized her if he was with him, but he's not, because he's doing all this sort of thing. She is a woman in engineering, like engineering overcoat, overall sort of things. But the more smart of you would notice that because there's not like any dirt on it, she's probably an overseer of engineers rather than doing most of the hard work. She's a woman in her 50s or so younger than Mickey, but also looks a lot younger than Mickey because Mickey looks like shit. And goes over and they extend like a friendly hug, and she starts sort of talking to him with sort of like I hope it wasn't sort of a bother getting here. It took quite a while since I last heard the last message. And he's like, well, it wasn't a problem at all. Just, smooth flying here and there. As he's compared to what we've been dealing with, this was and will be easy. And she's like, yeah, of course. Shall we go and talk somewhere that's not? And she kind of like leads you over to a sort of office sort of space. That's got like, big window where you can see like the engineering teams going around, and the engineering area would have big windows so you can see the couples of ships that are berthed here, which is pretty cool. Beside yours is a fighter that's being made, for example. So, and I would say when you were like going into descent to join here, like there are some orbital shipwrights and stuff that would be making like bigger ships. You'd see the skeletons of them being put together. When she, how many of you would go with Mickey? Mickey kind of, when there's a job going on, he does expect as much of you as possible to come with him on stuff. Mm-hmm. And this is for a job.
I mean, yeah, I'm definitely coming along with it because, what's his name can handle the workshop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would, at least until we've actually got the job. I might wander off after that. But
Anna is actually not. She's going to also be helping the engineering team for now, but it seems like she's already knows a bit what's going on because her and Mickey talk a lot more than like the rest of you. Because she knows you more. Like he talks to Tom as more, but like they don't have as much in common. They understand each other. They don't need to say a lot.
Fair enough.
So. You go down and by a little office space, like there's table, chairs, there's coffee, there's water, there's stuff like that. And she doesn't sit, but Mickey does. He's like, sit in under gravity. Yeah, that's what I like. And takes a little bit of joy in it. While the rest of you, I assume, stand or sit. It doesn't matter. She doesn't care. And she kind of introduces herself to a lot of you as like, my name's Lucia Gielan. Well, it's interesting to meet a lot of you. I want to put you on a job, one of our ships that comes through here a lot. It's on behalf of the Merchant Guild. One of their small ships, a free merchant has gone missing, and we want you to look into it. It's sort of normal affair. As soon as I had heard this was happening, and they wanted me to. Well, first of all, they were trying to sort of blame me for it, but I thought that getting you involved would be much more beneficial. And
so, this person, do I know anything about this person? Can I roll?
Give me a know check.
And what is the character sheets? I don't know if anybody else realized this. Since we made our characters, they were updated and they're a little bit different.
No, they're not updated. There is an edit mode and there is a play mode.
I know. I knew that last time.
Yeah, they've not been changed that much from there.
Yeah, but so anyways, so no intelligence, I imagine. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm aware of that, Ollie. Thank you.
Yeah, I thought you might have not had be like I put some of them into edit mode, play mode instead of edit mode. Okay, a 12
Nice.
is really good. You actually do know this woman via reputation, and also she is in like the ship's logs of people who have been called before, like from the ship, not from like a personal communicator. And you've checked over these things on like people. So her name, Lucia Guilin. She is now like overseer of engineering in this spaceport, this dock. There are multiple docks, but this one is by far the biggest one. But the thing is that she wasn't always. She's actually not an engineer, really. She knows a lot about engineering, but she's not an engineer. She was a very prominent member in the Merchant Guild in Pike. And the way that the guilds work most of the time is they're sort of like area-wide, but they have, you know, each system will work slightly differently. So maybe there's even like slight tensions between guilds. And the Merchant Guilds, being people who deal with money, of course there's tension. She is sort of disgraced in the Merchant Guild due to running into some problems that basically ended up losing a lot of money, and she is considered she is meant to pay off the debts, and she isn't working for that anymore. And you actually know that she sometimes does less than moral things to get more of that money because she is in a lot of debt, and it's a lot of debt to the Merchant Guild, which is not the best idea in general.
And then please remind me, who is it that's hiring to find this missing ship that they thought it was her at first?
She's hiring you.
Yeah, but whose ship is it missing?
She hasn't said yet.
Oh, okay,
she said it was on behalf, like this is sort of on behalf of the Merchant Guild, so it's probably a cargo ship.
Okay, gotcha.
And as she starts explaining, she will say that she'll sort of actually do there's a screen in the room, and she will sort of take her compad that is a little bit nicer than like your guys' like shitty spacer versions, and puts it up there, and it is a small ship quite similar to yours in concept, called the Pascal. It is a free merchant. Design-wise, it's designed to be more like up vertical, and all the cargo sort of like hangs off the side and stuff. But it's a free merchant similar to yours. She says that and you can see with that no check, but it does display, you know, typical Merchant Guilds symbols on the front, and like it's got Pike colors as well, which is orange and stuff like that. She goes on to say that it went missing. Here's the problem. We have our own people who can do this. The Merchant Guild has people who can do this. I'm sorry. And we could even get the police involved, but it went missing outside of Halberd. And none of you feel free to do no checks to know much about that system, that planet.
Halberd.
No,
like the weapon.
Halberd, it's in Pike.
Yeah, I was thinking of spelling, and I was like, oh yeah, duh.
No check, why not?
No int?
No int. You're not here though, Tom.
Oh, you're right. I forgot.
Yeah.
I rolled so well.
You rolled so well, but so first one thing is you already know this, and I was actually gonna say you probably would have already known this because you're from.
I figured I would.
You're from here, so
Yeah.
you this is your home. So, you know, Jason doesn't know. He doesn't really care much about this sort of place, but old Davis does, because Davis is a fountain of knowledge.
But he did critical, like, so Tomas actually critical.
Yeah, which is why I'm going to say, but he isn't here, so he's not involved. But he does know what I'm going to say. But he's
I'm so absorbed in my own stuff.
He's not physically in this space.
Yeah.
Overseeing this conversation. So you know that Halberd is a cold planet, very distant. It's the furthest colonized planet in this. It's actually the first planet in this system that is considered a planet, not an exoplanet. Although it's one of those ones like Pluto, where it could be kind of, you know, it is cold. It actually has an atmosphere, and it had life on it. It has its own unique life, and that's something in general. Nova's society kind of is very anti-alien life, including unintelligent life. In Nova's agriculture world has cows and sheep and things. This planet had animals and stuff, and people are okay with that, and maybe they're even learning how to like deal with the local animals and things. The people on Halberd are pirates. It is more or less a pirate. It's not a pirate stronghold. It's a pirate neutral space where sort of pirate gangs own everything, and it's one of those ones. Everyone's pointing guns at each other, but this is where you come to restock and refuel and get guns and get whores and do all the things so that you can go and pirate. And they're pirates who deal all over the place, not just pirates who work in the system. They go all over the place, and people who have better jump systems are sometimes pirates who have people similar to Tom who can just do some crazy shit with not a lot, or steal better ships or things like that. So, of course, it going missing outside of there means, first of all, it was probably going there deliberately, because there's very few other reasons to go there. The only other reason to go there would be if you were heading out that direction, which would be heading out towards Wraith-controlled space at this purpose in its orbit. But even then, you can punch around things. So even then, it's not necessarily that relevant. So probably they had some sort of dealings on the planet, and then were probably pirated. Is immediately what you think. But there's often more to piracy than just piracy. You also know that because you're just smart enough. Just in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, space pirates. So she says that, and you immediately recognize what it is. Do you say anything?
No, I nod to like the fact that she says she gives the information she does, and I say the ship's manifest and its crew, their details pertaining to them. Is this something that can be transferred over to us?
I don't know how up to date it will be, but I can get the guild to send you everything that's up to date as possible if you are taking the job. And Mick is like, of course we're taking the job. We were going to take the job the second that we started heading this way.
The guild does not keep accurate records or up-to-date records of all of the crew and the ships.
They try to, but sometimes on these sort of... Sometimes things do have to go off the books, and the guild is sometimes... It's not necessarily the best practice, but it does take place.
Sounds illegal and inefficient.
So, off the books, what's the cargo?
Why don't you give me a talk check? Talk charisma.
Oh, you do query, that's nice.
Yes, it queries by default. If it's one that you always use at the same time, you can check which one it is. She sort of like goes, I don't work for the guild anymore. I don't know what was going on with this ship. I really just know that it isn't where it should be, and it's the stress beacon went off. I'm trying to think of the word. It's not so much distress beacon. It's not like they have a just call. It's more like something bad happens and like it sends a message and then nothing. You don't get a response back. You know, that sort of thing.
What do you roll to see if they're lying?
That is a perception charisma, right?
Okay. So is it notice charisma?
Notice, yeah. I don't have your character sheets up, so I'm kind of like going...
No, you're fine.
She is definitely knows more than she's saying, which is not a surprise. It's one of those things where if she was part of this merchant guild, she either knew what was going on beforehand, this kind of weird shady dealing, or she knows more about this in particular, but it's not so much that, oh, I'm sending you to your death or something like that. It's more that she does know more than she's letting on. It might be rules or something like that.
So I'm going to use my authority ability and be like, the communications officer asked you a question for a reason. We need to have all the information available to make sure that we're going to be able to be successful so that you don't fall even further from the graces that you're currently in with the guild.
I did see a communique, which is why the Pascal is important. Because the Pascal had a bunch of cargo on it that's not necessarily important. And she sort of brings something up, and it's like a bunch of electrical components that are, of course, important in some way, but like they're not so super interesting. But the main job of the ship was the collection and retrieval of an alien artifact.
Oh boy.
And the people, and you do that, and he goes, it gets worse. The people who were interested in the alien artifact were Lunan. Now, Lunans. Lunans. So you guys would be considered Terran, or more or less human. Lunans are human too. They didn't come to this area of space on the colony ship, on the Ark. They chased the Ark because Luna was its own culture and its own society, very separate from Earth when this happened, apparently. And they are very separate to the society that happens in the rest of the world. To the extent that none of you have probably even met. If you've met one, you've met one. They don't trade with anyone else. They don't do anything with anyone else. They don't have planets. They are nomads who have very high-tech ships that travel around doing who knows what. You have no idea. There's a whole bunch of rumors about it, and probably Jason with like your military thing. Like, you would even occasionally consider them the enemy. They're like almost alien, you know.
Okay, so you said that the people that were trying to study the artifact were Lunans?
The people who are... Yeah, the artifact is... The job is Lunan.
Okay. Gotcha. So the crew is Lunan as well?
No, the crew would be from what... Like, she can ping you the man... Well, she's going to, so you can see.
Yeah.
But the job is, like, 4 Lunans.
Oh, that's who's actually hiring us.
Yes,
I'm so sorry.
Exactly, wording.
Gotcha. My apologies. Okay, cool.
All right.
I'm gonna say, so when she divulges that information, I suppose I look to the captain to see how he reacts to that, if at all.
Jason would too. He'd be like, "Sure, you want to work for Lunans, boss?"
He's like sort of troubled, and it takes him a couple of moments to think it. And do you actually say that out loud, Jason? I ain't willing to work with Lunans, but I can find what was on that ship and I can bring it back to you. And she nods. Like, I wasn't interested in you taking over the job. I was more interested in the job, in retrieving. And I'll be honest, I don't really care about whatever artifact it is. It just needs to be retrieved. I mean, you know what it's like with this alien stuff. Usually it's like a fertility symbol or a piece of writing, or so. It's never anything important. It's just people go crazy for it.
Nobody responds.
Yeah.
You know what it's like? Everybody's like, nope, we don't.
So, basically, it's just one of our typical jobs, just a bit strange. I don't see the problem here.
Yeah, I mean, anything alien starts being strange sooner or later, but we have enough strange on, like, directly looking at Rain. Like, we have enough strange to be able to handle it ourselves, I think.
A Lunan job with alien tech goes missing. Just saying.
Well,
I'm
let's
just saying.
hope it's another fertility symbol and not some form of alien nuke.
And Mickey stands up and pats Rain on the shoulder and be like, and let's make sure that our guns have plenty of ammo just in case. Because I have no issue shooting a Lunan.
That's something I can help out with.
And Mickey sort of turns to leave, and Lucia's like, I'll have the crew manifest sent to the ship as soon as possible. And thank you! Like, while he's leaving, he kind of goes like, yeah. Clearly, like, he came in very friendly, like a good, here's a good friend. Now he's like, shit, fucking got so
My friend has just landed me in shit.
Yes. But you're gonna help because they're your friend, and you already agreed to. I'm sure you all know. It's like a moving situation, kind of. And I suppose with that, why don't we take our second break? Mainly because I need to change my lighting because the sun's going down and I'm becoming.
You look like a crazy ghost boy.
You look like a guy, basically a sheet.
Yeah, I told you. I hate it. I hate the lighting.
Ollie, the friendly ghost.
Painted on.
He's not that friendly though. Ollie the grumpy ghost.
Ollie, the grumpy ghost.